This call is being recorded.
Welcome to the artwork of CP, everyone. If I sound a little exhausted, yeah, that's because I am. And I can't wait for 2019 to be completely over. Ugh, as you guys know, 2019 has been the worst year of my life. I won't even call it interesting. I won't even call it um, mildly interesting, mildly fun. But I will say 2019 has been the worst year of my life, and I felt the same way in 2010 when my mom died. I was like, let's get 2010 over with. So now I'm like, well, let's get 2019 over with. So if I sound completely exhausted, that's because I am. I also got woken up by a snowplow at 4:45 this morning, and yes, we're recording this on Saturday, December 14th. And the reason why I'm dating it is because Apple will now nicely play with the Amazon Smart Speaker. So if you say, hey, Rosebud, play the Ask Win podcast via Apple Podcast, it will play the Ask Win podcast via Apple Podcast. And Danielle will put more information in the show notes on that one. And it just plays randomly, you guys. It doesn't play specific episodes. Trust me, I tested it on my Amazon smart speaker myself. And so if you go into the settings on the Amazon smart speaker app and go where the output where you want your podcast to become, one of the choices is Apple Podcast. The other choice is TuneIn. The other choice is iHeartRadio. But the fact that Apple Podcast, I keep it one and call it Apple iTunes, but Apple iTunes is strictly for music now. Those of you who have the new operating systems on your computer and phone don't get Apple iTunes for your podcast anymore. So we're all using Apple Podcasts, and it's hard for the older podcasters like myself to understand the change and why. But I just wanted to give you guys that update, and if you are a podcast creator, have fun listening to your own podcast on the Amazon Smart Speaker. It's a little bit scary hearing your own voice on your Amazon Smart Speaker. And so that's that. But today we're going to talk about the morning routine with the evening routine with CP because we did the morning routine last week. So typically I'll use today as an example because today's a little bit different than most days. So typically in the afternoons I typically take a shower, even though you're not supposed to do that tw- twice a day. I typically take a shower in the afternoons on um, on Saturdays and Mondays, and then on Wednesdays, of course, after I work out. So, and then my aide actually makes me dinner, and because my stepmom has a full time job, even though she's living with me, she still has a full time job. So by the time I eat dinner, she's not typically home. And so um, my aide puts me in my after giving me a shower, puts me in my PJs, does the evening routine with me, and this has been going on since May 19th. And typically it was my dad that did it. And so up until May 19th, my dad wouldn't be doing it. My aides wouldn't be dressed in, getting me dressed in the morning, and now it's both of them on either end, um, getting me ready for bed, serving me dinner. They actually do breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me, and and then they typically leave when they're off at 6. So after they put me to bed, they, depending on what time it is, they typically put me to bed and then go back upstairs and clean up the kitchen, and then they're out of this house by 6. And my mom, my stepmom, does overnight care with me, even though I don't need overnight care. But um, you never know. You never know where I could be rolling over in bed and my kneecap could pop out, which has happened before and has happened. And so, and half of the time I don't even feel it. And so, yeah, so that's my evening routine, and because I'm not mentally fragile and not on any medications, they don't my aides don't need to do the medication and checking on me in the middle of the night. Although I've been given that option. I've been given that option in the years um, past, but and my mom would be more likely to do that if I asked her. I mean, she's only 3 flights away from me, and so I could. That's why I use one of the methods I use is text messaging, and people know that. That's how I communicate with Danielle. That's how I communicate with my stepmom. That's how I communicate with my aides. Um, even even now, since I don't have a living aid, it's more important to me that for safety reasons, I have my phone on me at all times, just in case something were to happen and I needed someone in the middle of the night to help me. But that hasn't happened. And so that's my morning, my evening routine. And Daniel, do you want to take it away?
Yeah. When I get home from the day, I eat dinner and then I get ready for bed. Then, if I need to work on the podcast, I'll work on that before I relax.
And Danielle goes to bed later than I do. I t- because I typically get up at 6:30, and you people know this. No, I already did an interview before this one at 7 a.m. this morning. So it's I typically work when the time calls. I mean, if people want to work on a Saturday, yes, I'll work on a Saturday. But that's that's how we roll. And for those of you that want to train aides how to do 24-hour care, just do the care. I mean, it's it's interesting. It's interesting living with a person that has a full time job. I mean, to sort of back to my dad gave up his full time job to take care of me. And the reason why we chose those hours, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., is because it used to be 7:30 to 7:15. I got for my living aid, and then my living aid, who's still a friend of mine, goes, "No more, no more. I can't be on the clock. I can't be on the clock until 8 o'clock." So she chose those hours with my mom, but and I told my mom, I said, "I'm super comfortable being at this house alone. It's not that big a deal, but as because I need 24 hours, yeah, I need 24 hours, yeah." So if you want to train a person how to deal with medications and how to deal with overnight care, be my guest. I mean, I am just super lucky that my mom wants to do the simple overnight care because CP can be a challenge and a half. And say that. And when I had the living aid, she wasn't doing anything until 7:30 the next morning. So it all depends whether your child needs that medication in the middle of the night or they don't. And I say child because CP is a childhood disease. We just go up into adulthood. So I I like it? Yes, I do. Do I like having my own personal space, not having aides necessarily in my personal space 24/7? There are some advantages to it, but there are some disadvantages too. Let's just put it that way. And I feel like whatever easiest for you. Now, granted, if you need a person who is going to be there 24/7, you're going to have to make that decision. And of course, as those of you who listen to the Lisa and Monkey episode, Lisa was one of my previous aides, and so she didn't have a full time job. Her full time job was taking care of me, and so she could have done the overnight care with me, but you need to pick a person who really wants to invest love in your child or the adult who's listening to this with CP and who wants to get up in the middle of the night and deal with you because CP in the middle of the night, you think CP is a challenge during the day? Oh, it can be pretty in the middle of the night too, and yeah, it's not it's CP's a challenge 24/7. And so, for those of you who are listening to this thinking, oh, I need someone overnight, yeah, get someone who is passionate about your child because if they're not, if they're not passionate, if they're not passionate about their job or if their number one job is taking care of your child during the day, that's fine. But also, humans are humans. But basically, what I've found over the years of having TV, and trust me, up until 2010, I had my mom taking care of me. So and she wasn't the middle of the night person either. My dad was the middle of the night person, and because when I was younger, I needed middle of the night care, and now I probably still do need middle of the night care. Something were to happen, but for those of you who are thinking, "Oh, I need respite care. Oh, I need a care provider to take care of my child in the middle of the night," choose wisely. Choose wisely. And I've been super lucky that for me too. I've been super lucky, and Danielle has been super lucky that we've had compassionate aides over the years that will help us in the middle of the night if we need it. If we need it, but there is, I don't think there's any way in the heck that without compassionate aids, I would be where I am today. And trust me, 2019 has been the struggle bus. The struggle bus doesn't want to let go of me either. And so it's like, when you're picking a care provider, ju- just be, just know that they have to have as much compassion for your child as you do. And I say kids um, because CP is a childhood disability, even though we grow into adulthood. And yeah, I won't be, I, this, the unfortunate thing for me is, and the unfortunate thing for Danielle is that CP won't ever go away. Won't ever go away. And for those of you who are just turning on to the artwork of CP now, yes, we have CP, and yes, Danielle and I are functioning with CP, and we're trying to do the work. We're trying to raise awareness about CP in adulthood because the kids with CP gets the beautiful end of the lollipop all the time. We get the fuzzy end of the lollipop. And I think Danielle would agree with me on that one, that we get the fuzzy end of the lollipop. And on Tuesday on Ask When, it's going to be going out with thoughts on CP, which that's going to be, we're now integrating CP into Ask When. Thoughts on CP is only on Tuesdays, and the rest of it is an interview show. And then we're going to be talking about going out with CP, and it's really, really interesting how and I'm going to break you guys' heart here in the next couple of weeks after we do the morning routine. Then I'm finally ready to talk about something that is that went on June 23rd, and I'm finally ready to speak about it. And for those who heard me on Women Conquer Business, um, I briefly mentioned it because I figured I would prepare you guys. Um, on Women Conquer Business by Jen, and um, Jen said, "Well, are you ready to talk about it?" And I said, "Briefly, I am." And so I'm ready to talk about it now. And we'll be using words that are not safe for work, that are not safe for the consumption on the Amazon Smart Speaker. Thank you very much. And we'll be using words that are definitely not safe for kids. And this is what we all had to go through and had to now I have to deal with it, it being it, and I'll leave it at it until next week. But I had to deal with um, something since June 23rd that I couldn't tell you guys about, and I'm sorry I'm going to be breaking your heart on, and yes, this next episode on the artwork of CP will require a tissue box. Will require a tissue box um, because even though I'm strong enough to talk about it now, for those of you who have been through a very similar situation, you may need to find it within your heart to be able to talk about what I'm going to talk about next week. And so I'll leave it at that. And trust me, this will be a headphones, no child listening episode. And I'll leave it at that. I I wish I could have another person with me beside me, but I think I'm strong enough to do it on my own, and I know that Danielle knows what's going on, and I just have to be ready to talk about it, and then, well, once we do talk about it, we I'll be perfectly fine, and once I state, and you guys can come to me for any questions or concerns, and just to let you know, the aide that was here with me, and she and I are still good friends, and she did not do it. She did not do it to me. She did not do it to me. You guys are gonna be shocked what I had to deal with on June 23rd. And the aide who was here with me supported me the whole way through up until a month ago. So, and she still wants to support me. So, just to let you know, since talking about compassionate caregivers, you literally have to do a background check on your caregivers if they're going to be in your home, because the subjects we're going to talk about next week is going to be, and they will say on background check, something on background check, and they will say it on a background check. And normally, public partnerships does a background check on everyone, and because public, even though you're choosing your aides, public partnerships is the agency that helps you that I use, and so and they have a version of public partnerships in all different states, and basically what public partnerships does is long-term Medicaid pays for your aides. So they do a background check, but you guys should do a background check so that my story doesn't happen to you guys. The story I'm going to tell you guys next week, and I'll leave it at that. But I will say it's going to be a headphones episode, and it's going to be a non-Apple iTunes episode, non-Apple podcast episode on my Amazon smart speaker, and I am ready to talk about it. I've been brave, I've been strong, I've been to counseling, and so I will just be ready to talk about it. And we will be doing a double feed on both. We will be putting it up on Aswin and a Diary of a Fashionista. So we'll catch you guys this Monday, and then next Monday will be the shock of your life. And so that's all. That's how I can put it. And I just want 2020 to be here as quickly as possible because 2019 has been not so fun. And so I really appreciate you guys loving and supporting both podcasts. And Ask Win is on now on Amazon Smart Speakers. Artwork of CP is on Smart Speakers now via Apple Podcasts. And then you don't have to subscribe to Ask Win or the Artwork of CP to listen to them. All you have to say is, hey, her name, and then listen to the artwork of CP on Apple Podcast, and she'll pick a random episode. I'm sorry, you guys, they don't go in order. And so she'll pick a random episode, and you guys can listen to it. And Danielle will stick it both in the show notes. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode, and thank you so much for your support. And we'll be back on mic next Monday morning. Thanks, see you guys. Bye.
Yeah. You.